Hey guys, Rob here, aka NerdLife-A, and welcome to the first ever build video of the Iron Man rig that you see behind me. Obviously the rig isn't quite finished yet. I will just be staggering out the series as the build progresses. So if you're not familiar with the components that I'm going to be using in this rig, head along to my channel. I've got a whole array of videos of unboxings of the components I've used so far. And without rambling on too much, sit back and enjoy the video. Okay then guys, so for part one we're going to be installing the CPU into the motherboard along with the water block, and then we're going to install the whole motherboard into the PC case. So first of all we're just going to start off with fitting the water block socket mounts, and then we'll go from there. Okay then guys, so to switch out the mounts for the socket, what we're going to do is we're just going to undo these 4 screws here. This will then come off along with the back plate, and then we can install the one for the water block that we have here. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Okay then guys, so with the original back plate removed, we're going to fit the new one that'll be compatible with the Cryos water block. So with the new backplate fitted, what we're going to do now is we're going to install the CPU. So first of all, we need to remove the CPU from the packet. Now, believe it or not guys, this is actually one of the most simplest parts. Turn it around here. Now, the way you know which orientation to place the CPU is just there in the top left corner. You've got a little gold triangle. You'll also have a little gold triangle, well, a little triangle on your motherboard. What you've got to do is put the triangle with the triangle, and then that locates it to which corner is which, so then you therefore know the orientation of the CPU. So we're just going to lift up this little catch here, and that moves the bottom. Now this is 0 force guys, you literally want to place it over. There's 0 force applied. There we go. Okay then guys, with the thermal compound in place, what you're going to do then is proceed to install your water block. Just remember to make sure that on the bottom of the water block that you have a little bit of a wipe down, just to make sure that there's nothing on there that shouldn't be. So what we do is we place that over the top. Remove the springs. Make sure you place the springs on top of the mount first. Do them sort of finger tight first. There you go. You want to make sure that you do these up equally. Okay then guys, with the water block installed, just be careful not to tighten it up too tight, as you don't want to over tighten it and warp the board. Let's proceed in installing the motherboard into the PC case. Okay, so we're all set up. Most importantly, first of all, I'm going to be coming in direct contact with the motherboard, so I have made sure to earth myself. I've got a anti-static bracelet around my ankle, and also obviously I'm using an anti-static mat, which you can see that the tail is placed on. Now I have jumped the gun a little bit, I'm not going to lie. I have put in the IO shield. That's just a simple case of a firmly forceful press into the slot that it goes into. Some are easier than others, but this one went in pretty decently. Now, first job, obviously I'm going to have to put in the elevators for the motherboard, which is what the motherboard will actually sit on, and they look something like this. And they will just screw into the screw holes which are shown on your motherboard, and then that will elevate it from the chassis that you see here. So we'll go ahead and fit those first of all. There we go, so that's all those fittings in place. After this point we're now ready to put in the motherboard. However, I'm just going to touch quickly on the subject. You may notice that this is now black. The chassis I have painted black. With the colours that I've gone for with the motherboard and the red that this was painted, just really, I don't think it was going to work, so I've gone with the safer option, gone with black. That way everything's going to pop out a little bit more. And obviously I've painted the expansion slots gold and black. So I'm hoping that will give it a bit more of an Iron Man theme feel than what it would have if this was that sort of powder coated red, which is what it didn't quite fit with what I wanted it to look like. So I did go ahead and spray that. Okay, so let's get on with fitting the motherboard. Now this part is obviously where you definitely want to make sure you're grounded, because you don't want any static shots or anything nasty like that when you're so close to getting the motherboard into the PC. So let's get that up. Now the goal here is to line it up with the I/O shield, like so, and then you want to gently place it onto the elevated screws that you've already installed. There we go. So that's sitting nicely. Now what I'm going to do is fit in these 9 screws, which is supplied with the tower. Oh, the screw's just there. Oh, got rope on that. There we go. Now I normally start from the back and then just work my way forward. You do have to give it a little bit of persuasion. Only a little though. If you haven't to force anything, something's going wrong. So always make sure you're never applying too much force to anything like this. And you don't want to screw these all the way down straight away. Give them the last nip once you've got all the screws in place. Okay then, so mounting the PSU could not be a more simple job. It's a simple case of 4 screws which goes directly into the back of this unit that you see here, and then that is pretty much it. So let's get that in there. Just get it into position. Simply 4 screws out the back of the tower, which go straight into the PSU. Okay, so that's the PSU installed, nice and easy, just 4 screws into the back of the unit that hold it firmly in place. This actually concludes part 1 of the series. Next series will be installed in the water cooling loop. That'll be the reservoir, radiator and pump, and probably get the tubing in as well. So tune in for that one.